Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are about to start. May I request that everyone settles down. Sanduke. Okay. Yes, we are going to start now. Yes. I hope you all have programs on your tables, and these are programs for the science of literacy and numeracy, strengthening literacy and numeracy skills in primary schools including parental engagement. This is what our program is about today. We are going to start with an opening prayer, and may I request the circuit manager, Ntate R.L. Pasha, to come and lead us in a short prayer.
Good morning, colleagues. If it pleases all of us, and then you do not have any problem when we follow the path of Christianity, then I may request you perhaps to sing a hymn while seated. There's no problem. Any Christian hymn, any tune, which perhaps we can all of us join. Rea obo kamo rena renze reta apela resapela resapela munati kapabaloka babalo oya orenie ota bela teu tira ataka tato ya au ipete bana bagao Thank you very much. Let me just read one verse from the book of Colossians 3:23, where it says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Whatever you do, work at it wholeheartedly, as if you are not doing it for the people, but you are doing it for the Mighty One. I want to encourage you this morning in this activity that whatever you do, colleagues, teachers in particular, work at it as if you are not doing it for the people, but you are doing that for the Mighty One. We are teachers in our own capacities. We are planting that seed. There is no price which we could be paid, the price that could qualify us to be paid. There is no such price. But the fact that you are be doing that as if you are not doing for the people, you are doing for God, that is a heavy price, and it's a very, very good price. One day, o ka no bona o le ka gare ga setšhaba modimo a go šupa o le ka gare le wene batamela wa ba re le nna modiraedi bee mosona a re ee. Why? Because one day you have served those young souls with passion, with no price equal to what you are doing. Ke botišere bana bešo the first chapter or the first words, the first page, when we were doing teaching as a profession, it was written, onderwijs wordt bloot niet beschouwd as a beroep nie, maar as a roeping. Teaching is taken as a calling, not a sort of employment. That is why I'm saying there is no price that could suit what you are doing. So let's recognize, let's plant that seed. A candle, but it gradually goes down until it fades off. That's about ourselves as teachers. You teach, you teach, you teach, then one day you will pass. And the mighty one will say, well done. Can we bow our heads and pray? Tata umrana Jesu Kriste mesoshi eme botse re a leboga. Kopano she ya go tla go tlhatliwa le go rutiwa re a go mema mongarena tla o be le bosepediši ka moka baeng ba batlileng mo kopanong ye ka go fapana ga bona o tlolla megopolo ya rena ka moka re thuše mosepediši wa modiro thuša batho ka moka ka gare ga ditsela bao ba sa tlang tulong ye ba fe bohlale go la tsela tša bona ba fihle ba bolokegile re ga fela modiro matsogong a gago through the name of Jesus Christ, the mighty one. Amen.
Thank you very much, Ntate Pasha. Thank you very much for the wonderful words of wisdom to all of us who are involved in teaching. It is about God, it's about the seed, but it is also about shining the light. Now, Lina Lakeki Nafosa, Mama Bolo, I'm the program director for the day, as you can see. And at this point, I will call upon the acting district director, Dr. J.F. Malachi, to come and welcome and acknowledge key stakeholders, partners, and dignitaries. Dr. Malachi, over to
Thanks a lot, Program Director Me Mama Bolo Fosa. That's what she likes most. Or Mama Bolo karo mokgoma ga ntšha le tše dingwe. But or Fosa, you touch the right button, she will excel. Good morning, colleagues. I thought she will lay the protocol. Now she passed that baton to me to lay the protocol. Now, let me start by saying, let me acknowledge and introduce the following people. But before that, let me indicate that we are excited. We are not in a memorial service. Though educators are people who are very much formal, but I'm going to request the DJ to just shake us a bit to indicate that we understand the science of literacy and numeracy, just a bit, so that we relax. I would tell you. That was what wonderful, very, very wonderful. Are ditiele matsogo? No, yes. You see, you started well. Ke be ke tshoga gape o ka hwetša batho ba Motagane in a session which is good like this. O thoma go gopola bo accountability session, bo what. So yeah, we need to change that mood to say today we are happy, we are celebrating, and we understand what we are going to do. Colleagues, let me acknowledge and introduce the head of Pillar, Education Pillar from Kagisho Trust, Ms. Mpatswe Sizakele. May you stand, Madam Barubon. And then Programs Manager from KT, Ms. Zandi Makuchwa. Madam. Funda One Day, Ms. J. Maputa. Agradi the adjective ga guru guru. Well, mo ba ngwaletse an adjective e a hlaolanyana so. Now I'm just saying the director of foundation phase, as I knew her, Miss Tlotlo. You see, that's the adjective that I hated. Former. I saw it. I saw it. It is selective. We also have circuit managers available here. One is Mr. Pasha RL. Dade Pasha? The predicant, ne? Yeah. And then we also have Ms. Nake LHP for these two words. Others are still on their way. We have got parallel events. We'll start other way around and come this other way around. We will introduce them as and when they are coming in. We also have the DCES for foundation phase, Ms. Morena. We have a member of the district steering committee, Ms. Zanele Mokoto. We had the regional secretary for SATU, South African Democratic Teachers Union, Mr. Mantla Jie. I need to, because Baba Nchibatwa Mantla ngari Jie. Le do fele jala sa mtsebe ga botsana. We also have the SAPA leader, Mr. Mashavela MC. That Mashavela, okay? Good. South African Principal Associations. We then have principals. I'm going to request the principals to stand up. Principals, please stand up. Those who are making sure that literacy and numeracy excels. We have also SGP members. The governance part, you may stand up, please. Le ka no ba le sa tsebe gore rena re le bona le ba bohlokwa ka kudu. Since I started in our district, ga gona mo dikolo di ile go di ema ba rona le boycott. It is because you are governing well. And for that, ngele ditile matsogo ka kudu. We then have foundation teachers, those who are teaching our kids, those who are laying foundation to our kids. those who are teaching our kids to hold a pencil, to start making a round, to start making an R. But there is this other teacher who's sitting with them down there. The last time, the foundation teachers. Okay, the last time I visited them, yes, and I understand why they are wearing tegis. And it is true, they are going to celebrate this event. Because so we appreciate your work very, very, very much. We then have also the Karisho staff. I'm going to start with the KT district manager from the local in Bekaswat and Ngala. With his two project managers, Ndate Timuni and Me Fosa. Other than that, we have both local staff and head office staff around us. These are the people who made sure you are sitting very comfortably where you are. Some are there in the behind the scenes. They are making sure we are catered for. We are well, we are sitting, we are listening to the mics. All this arrangement, they are from there. Other than that, colleagues, lenawak salbonago kalebalamo aska ka tswa ke hlaola ke sa tlo bua gantši ke bontšha ba ke sa ba bonang ke sa bone bana ba for the last time ke a leboga program director. Thank you very much. But then I nearly forgot another part. At the back there, we have got ablution facilities. There are two doors there. You will turn this way, then you will get it on the left and on the right. You will see the signage for male and for females. Let me indicate or ke ntame ke towards the second. East Education District. In the Education District, we don't have dogs, we don't have lions. We are educators. Or what? So we are just feeling free, and education people, they never drink when they go to education occasions, so we won't get any embarrassment from the educators or whoever is in here. So feel free, participate well, and one role of the educator is a lifelong learner. Everybody learn something, one or two things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Acting District Director. In addition to the ablutions that District Director indicated, we have VIP toilets outside, and those are the ones preferred by everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, Acting District Director. And I like that he said we haven't come here in Tatejia, we haven't come to a memorial service, ne? We have come to celebrate literacy, numeracy, parental engagement, ne? I like Acting District Director that when you requested foundation phase educators to rise, I saw male foundation phase educators. Can we clap hands for them? These are the daddies to our children in the foundation phase. I wish we had more. I wish we had more so that the role, begins to change. That foundation phase is not only taught by female teachers. So Thank you so much. And I also like that the district director said the foundation phase teachers are the ones who start teaching children how to do that circle and write an R. And I will tell you why I like that he said R. He didn't say how to write A, because that's not an A, it's an R. Ne? So today, it's about A, it's about W, it's about S, it's about M, it's about D, it's about K, it's about R. Huh? 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 It's about P. Huh? Ne? Thank you so much, District Director, for, laying that foundation that today it is not about A, B, C, D, E, F, It's about the foundations of learning language, whether it is home language or first additional language. I like that, District Director, that you are hands-on, not only with matric, but also with the foundation phase. Let's clap hands for the District Director. Yes, I will now call upon our head of pillar, Ma'am Sizakele Mpatswe. We call her the head of pillar because she's like, when we say the district director or the head of department, Kagiso Trust under the education pillar. So Ma'am Mpatswe is going to give us an overview of the systemic change in education and outline the purpose of the session, as well as introduce today's panelists. So Ma'am Mpatswe, please play the song that Ma'am Mpatswe, sorry. Okay, all right, okay, sure. Right, before Ma'am Mpatswe gives us what she has in store for us, there is a video that's gonna play, and we are all going to watch attentively.
The future, it doesn't just arrive, it's born inside each of us, waiting to be ignited. At Kagiso Trust, we believe the future lives in you. For 40 years, we've walked beside the dreamers, the doers, the job seekers, and the leaders, igniting the spark of potential that lies deep inside. When we unlock that potential, we don't just build careers or businesses, we build a future shaped by your hands, your dreams, your courage. It's all inside of you. This is more than just a chance, it's a movement. A promise that with the right support, dreams turn into reality, hope turns into achievement, and potential turns into legacy. Kagiso Trust is here to walk with you every step of the way, because the future isn't just ahead of us, it is inside of us all. Kagiso Trust, igniting human capacity.
Good morning, everyone, and protocol observed as per the announcement of the ADD, and just to emphasize that the business we are at as Kagiso Trust, we are just about igniting human capacity, because we know there is a capacity within all of us. We just need that spark. And with that spark, we use the torch to ignite each one of us, so that when the light shines, it does not only shine for the few. And if you can roll the presentation. Thank you so much. I was thinking. Thank you. So we thought before this conversation starts, it's important for you to know who are these people, what exactly are they doing in relation to literacy and numeracy, And where do we come from with this? So it's more about saying, why we are seated here. We are Kagiso Trust, a big organization, but from this organizational perspective, who exactly is focusing on what we do here? So this is how the presentation will work. So for us, we developed a model, I think it was around 2004. And ironically, when we're developing the model, we piloted it here in Limpopo. This was the first site of pilot, and it was in Sekhukhune, and if I'm not mistaken, Sekhukhune was one of those, ne? Earlier on. In Vembe, we piloted in Vembe, and the schools that we work with in Vembe are still performing even today to show the sustainability. So for us, what we wanted to do, we understood that as an organization, there is no impact at scale that we can make without collaborating with like-minded organizations or individuals who also have an interest in the development of a child, especially the public schooling children, who are many. Number one, we've got many of them, but also they are the ones that are lagging behind in terms of development and resources. And that's when we come. And our wish is to transform the schools in a way that we start district by district until the entire country is able to replicate this model, because we know for a fact that it works, as it is focusing also on the people, and that throughout the entire country. Sekhukhune East Education District, it's one of those districts where we are scaling the work that we have done before in areas like the Free State, and that is informed by our intentional monitoring and in evaluation to ensure that there is systemic change or systemic influence. For us, it's not about a particular district or individual teachers, but what we do, how far does it impact and change the system? Is it frozen? Oh, sorry. Yes. So we have a living tool that we call a theory of change. And for us, the theory of change is just a tool that will say to us, what is it that we do? Who do we target for results? Because anything that you do, there should be results at the end. You can't just do things and not expect results. And the most critical two questions, why do we do what we do? And how are we doing what we do? So that when we say, this is what we expect at the end, we have a clear monitoring and evaluation with smart goals that we are able to measure and anybody can see. We don't want to tell the story. We want to work and let the story start telling itself. And for us being here in this district, we just said we are here and we work with the district. No one can dispute now that Sekhukhune East Education District is rewriting its story. It is rewriting its narrative. A district that was once in national platform referred to as a perpetual underperforming district. And this district is not only shocking us as an organization. We knew that this will happen. I think and believe that everyone seated here, you are also shocking yourself to realize how much potential you have within you, because no one did this for you. Not Kagiso Trust, not anybody else, but because you decided to adopt a different approach and strategy and change the mindset. That's what brought you where you are. And let me tell everyone who's seated here, this is only the beginning. The best is yet to come. So our theory of change, it really says, who do we want to see results from? What is it that we want to see change at? And when you look at our theory of change, you can see that it is about the entire schooling system, not only the classroom, but it starts looking at the top, the provincial offices, but also the district office. That is very critical because all the support, what happens in a school, who should support the school, who must make sure that resource provision is there or the shortages that are there, is the one that also realizes and say, this is the support that we need. It is the district office. At the center of everything, it is the school, because when we change the school, the community automatically changes. The lives of the people that are in that community, it also changes. Who is responsible to make that change? None other than the educator. That is why at the center of our theory of change, and as an organization, we invest on a teacher. Our investment goes to the teacher, because the teacher will be able, in a school, not the teacher in the classroom, the principal is also a teacher, if I may say so, SMT members. If the school environment, it is conducive for teaching and learning to take place, and the required and requisite resources are available, and the system is supporting teachers to deliver and monitor quality education, as well as the leadership giving continuous and successful support to the teachers, we therefore will see the outcome on learner achievements, not only on the number of learners that achieve, but the quality that they achieve on, which is part of the SDG 4 goal, that it is about inclusive education, which is not only inclusive, but quality education. And quality education is not about grade 12. It is about the entire schooling system. So let me just take you to this campus, this model that we have adopted. It's important for everyone to note that when we developed this model, we were so mindful that we are not the Department of Education. Therefore, we did not want to redo or duplicate what the department is doing. But we said there are legislative frameworks in the department. There are policies that guides what should happen in a school. And within this, when we were piloting, we were finding out which areas need people like us, Kagiso Trust, to strengthen, so that what the department wants to achieve gets to achieve it through our support, working with them, not working against them, but working with them so that we ensure that there is seamless alignment, and teachers at a school don't see our presence as another education program, but see it as what they are supposed to do, just strengthen and with additional support. So we develop a model where we say, it won't help us to go only to Ntame School and bring the whole program in Ntame School without looking at the district-wide approach for impact, for escalation, and for results. And because we said we are working with district officials, circuit managers, subject advisors, there are those that are not directly impacted by the partnership, but because they belong in a district, they are able to take the learnings and the best practices to the other areas where they are working or where they are responsible. And we called this the district whole school development model for that purpose and for that reason. So where do we come from with this in all these years? I've indicated that we piloted here in 2004. with only one school in Vembe and further to 18 schools. And in 2019, we came to Sekhukhune. When we piloted in 2004, that's when we realized that working with one school does not yield the intended results. You need to intervene at a bigger scale. We then have implementations in other districts like your Eastern Cape. We've been in Mpumalanga, and we are still in the Eastern Cape with also our baby, the KST trust that is implementing in a smaller scale in the Eastern Cape. We were in Mpumalanga, we were in KZN as part of the program development and evolution. And where we had so many schools and embedded our footprint was in the Free State, where we were in more than 404 schools in 3 districts. A district for Kagiso Trust, which was Thabo Mfutsanyane, Malute Apofung Municipality, and the KST, that I said it's our baby in Fezile Dabi and Mutewo. And we are proud of the results that we have achieved there. So for us, we also embed the work that we do on partnership, on collaboration, but also on accountability and values-driven approach, because we understand ourselves as an intervention. And when you intervene, you start and finish. But when you finish and leave, whatever you have embedded in the system should not live with you. It should stay behind. And Free State is a testament that we left 2015, but what we embedded there, it is still yielding positive results even now. So someone will say, with your whole district model, what exactly are you trying to address? Our model is an education pipeline. Like that image you see when you have a pipe. It starts somewhere. We start early on from the foundation, early childhood development or early learning. And we move across all the phases: foundation phase, intermediate phase, senior phase, FET, as well as post-schooling for those learners that have done well but are unable to go further. And this model, as I've emphasized, it's never about grade 12. For us, you don't start to see results at grade 12. You start to see results at grade 4, when a number of learners that you have put targets for are able to read for meaning and understanding. They are able to construct simple words, and they are able to write simple paragraphs, but also they are able, when they read something, they comprehend and are able to respond to a question. And these that we are addressing are the gaps or the leakages within the education pipeline that you start to see between grade 4 and 6. You also start to see at grade 9. That is why at grade 10 you have very high numbers of learners who are dropping out of school because of frustration, that there is nothing maybe for me. And also in grade 12, where everybody is having a bird's eye on the results of the grade 12, not looking into what has been the development and what are the gaps that these young people have accumulated over the years. So for us, simple, what we are addressing, we are closing the leakages within the pipeline of the education model or approach in terms of the phases. What informs us as to what is it that we need to do? I've said we have a model, and our model has these 8 elements. I will only just address the first one, and maybe they read the ICT integration and the community mobilization. Oh, it looks like, but I'll see. You know, when you engage a person, and you say, I would like us to do maybe this project, people will want to know, why are we doing that project? What is it that is there for me? What are you expecting from me? Is it important or it's not important? And we have the transformation and empowerment workshop solely to work on the attitude and behaviors of people. Because you can have skills, you can have knowledge, but if your attitude is not at the right space, there is nothing, it doesn't matter how many millions we can come and bring here. People will just attend a workshop, people will just attend this conversation. After they eat, after eating, the only thing they can remember is that the decor was beautiful, the food was nice, or if the food was bad, they take nothing with them. But if you talk to the inner me and say to me, you have the potential within you, that you don't have to keep that potential to yourself. You can ignite other people's torches. And we think there is a way from the work that you're doing, how you can do that. So this is a conversation with the school. I know all of you here went to that conversation. And I know some of you, it was some form of healing because there were many conclusions that you were having, either about yourself or about other people, which were not true. Just because someone has said, the principal says, and you take it, and you develop an attitude, and you start to do things in a different way. Whereas, when we are just saying to people, it's important for you as a school community to create space and time for you just to sit and talk about you, about the work that you are doing, so that you are able to identify amongst yourselves how it starts with you as an individual, how then I come to the team, which is the school, the organization, and make a contribution that my school will then impact on my province. And last year and this year, the results, in fact, in all the years, the results that we have been getting, they started with individuals making a new commitment. It then went to a school that the school was committing. It went to a district that we were committing as the district. And maybe you are not aware of the impact that you are making in the province. If you recall Ntate Malachi, last year's results, they were counting many years that the province was in the 70s. It was years long ago. And who made the province to move to the 70s? It's Sekhukhune East Education District. Do you want to take that back? I don't believe so. We are rising. We're the district on the rise. We no longer look back. Forward we go. Once you taste success, I don't think you'll want to go to the bitterness of failure. We want to continue with the sweetness. This is the model. And we are here. All the stakeholders that are here are also talking to the campaign that we conducted in 2023 and 24 in the district and the entire country that was saying it takes a village. And we see the village seated here because we all want to make the change. We are an intervention. As we live, what is it that we will be leaving the district to continue having, either as tools or as resources, to hold on and continue with the work that you are doing? We have empowered and will continue to empower system leaders, district officials, our SMTs, and our subject advisors. But also within the system as a whole, we ensure that we've got the frameworks. We, last year and this year we're still going to do, we have a mentorship program where we have specialists in the subject that were supporting subjects, that were supporting, who work directly with the teachers. That is a mentorship of educators. But we have also institutionalized the PLCs within the district. They are not yet at the level where we want them to be, but we know they will be at that level. And also, we have a very beautiful program of learner leadership. You've got leaders from your learners who are in as early as grade 9. They will be attending their workshop in April, Zandi. Yeah, but we have a group that has been doing amazing work in the previous 2 years in their schools. And these are the young leaders that were saying to them, you are not enemies with your teachers. You are not enemies with anyone who wants to support you. But as a young person, play your part, do your part. The empowerment and transformation workshop, we've done that, and also including the training. But the ICTs, we are working on a connectivity solution because we realize that in Sekhukhune specifically, in some areas, even the 3 top networks, none of them works. Hence, we have this solution of the TV white spaces that we have partnered with other organizations to connect our schools. We are still, because it's the project that we're starting, we are testing and fixing, but we want not only schools, even the communities that are surrounding those schools will have connectivity at a cheapest cost for a data open, what is it, data lenga badalelo, unlimited data at as little as 5 rands, and you have unlimited data. But we want to make sure that even our communities are connected. We have joint accountability sessions from the province to the district where we hold each other accountable. There is no one who is a person that should account. Why did you come late? We all have to account. What made me to come late? What did you do that made me to come late? So we have these accountability sessions, but the most and critical part, because when we talk Sekhukhune East District, people who are not here might not have witnessed the work that we do. But if we have the strong monitoring and evaluation approach and processes in place, we are using the data. We talk numbers. Numbers don't lie. If we say, when we arrive, the district was performing at 58%. When we leave, the district will be performing at 100%. We will not be lying. It will be numbers talking, not us talking. And how then, what is it that we base the success of the partnership? You know, partnerships are difficult. Collaborations are difficult. There are so many things that you have to deal with because it's different individuals who are saying we want to come together for a common purpose or common goal, and along the way, they disagree. It gets fragmented. So these partnership and relations, for us, it is important that we continuously nourish. And how do we nourish them? Through the continuous engagements, so that if there are bottlenecks, we are able to iron them out and deal with them. But also leveraging on the partnership capacity. We come in as Kagiso Trust not having all the solutions to the challenges. But we say we are coming in and you are coming in. We are going to learn from you. You are learning from us, so that what we learn here, we are also strengthening for the others to get the best practices. So don't ever look at us as the know-all. We know nothing. We are just here to learn. And boy, we are learning. The administrative support. Without the support of the MEC, without the support of the HOD, who also committed in this partnership, we wouldn't be here, seated here. So that it is also important, but it's important to have the governance structures. We have a structure at the district level, we have a structure that is at the provincial level. We also strengthened our involvement within the district steering committee, because that's the structure that is very important for us to ensure that the work or the resources that we bring, it does not only lie with the school, but everybody within the system has an input. Then, you have said everything. Why now this conversation? Because we think everything that you have said, it's okay. We are saying no, it's not okay. When we receive these reports, when we receive the technical report after the results announcement of the grade 12, we realize that the international standards of assessing and checking or benchmarking South Africa against other countries, we continuously perform at a very low base. And that it's because it has been said. They are not saying our learners cannot read. They are saying they cannot read for meaning. They can read, but it's not for meaning and comprehension, so that it also then it becomes a triple effect to the work that they do. So we are having this conversation so that these gaps and challenges that have been identified from your SACMET, from your PERLS, and your team's report, we put our contribution together as a district and as an organization to ensure that our learners, we close these gaps and the challenges that have been identified. And we've invited specialists, we've invited people who are working on the ground. You know, when you are there on the ground, it's different from a person who is developing a strategy in the office. Do you know that? Because as you walk the ground, you discover, you fix, you discard even your plans that you came with your strategy, and you realize, the context does not allow me. So this is more about ensuring when we bring these solutions, addressing these problems, we are contextualizing it to Sekhukhune East District. What has worked in the Free State might not work here. What has worked anywhere else, it might not work here. But it doesn't say that we don't have to take the best practices. The most important thing is that we contextualize it to our own environment. And we are doing this, that it will lead to an implementation and it will have impact. And the impact that we want to see should not only be for the 42 schools. It should be for the entire primary schools in the district, but also the entire primary schools in the province, so that our provincial officials, when they engage with their counterparts at national, they share and said, in our province, this is what we are doing. When a mayor or DCS meets her provincial counterparts, she should be able to stand up bold and say, this is the approach that we've taken, and it is having that systemic influence at scale. Remember, you are only 42, but we want to scale this to everyone who is affected with this. But more and above that, let us be aware who is around us, so that we also identify collaboration opportunities. That is very important. And when we do that, when we implement, we will start to see that all these slumps, the gaps that have been noted, do you remember that pipeline I've shown? then we will be addressing them. You will start to see them at grade 4. And as they continue or progress, you will start to see. And remember, we are dealing with people. We will be doing it this year. It's important for us to put time. When are we going to start to see the results and the impact? In the next 2 years? In the next 3 years? It might be different. Other schools might start to show the impact immediately. Other schools, it might take them 2 years. Others might take them 3 years. Others might take them 5. We therefore, DD, to make it our, when I say our, I mean the district, not me. We need to make it our way of working, of tracking the learners and tracking the intervention. As we start with this literacy and numeracy approach and implementation, these learners in the next 4 years, they will be in grade, let's say with the 3s, they will be in grade 7. We need then at the end of the grade 7, we need to have our mini longitudinal evaluation or study to see what change has been brought by this in terms of these learners. The teachers will be able to do that. And we also encourage teachers, you are in the same school. There is no way that the grade R, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 teachers plan individually. Let's break the silo working mentality and work collaboratively together. And when we do that, we will ensure that the foundations for literacy and numeracy are built, and not only in a small scale, but they are built in a bigger scale. And there are other learnings that we will bring in other involvement that we have. We have partnered with 7 other foundations where we are developing a model for literacy and numeracy. And you are so lucky because some of these areas, we will come back and test them here if they are working. But for us, everything that we do it for the country. We do it for the system. We develop models and we hand them over for replication and embedding within the system. Thank you.
Makoti, take 5. When I was coco, I took Boroko, Halasabunya, Makoti.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Patso, our head of pillar. And I'm sure you are all excited to be part of the rewriting of Sekhukhune East District story. I am sure that we are all excited because I want to believe that you've heard when she spoke about the investment that is put into teachers so that we are all able to achieve. And just to remind everyone that we all know that by 2030, we need to have 90% of our learners in foundation phase performing at 50% and above. And that's exactly the reason why we are here, so that we can together strengthen how we do things in the foundation phase so that we can achieve that goal of 90% of learners achieving at least 50% and above. We will now call upon the DCES for curriculum in Sekhukhune East District, and that is Mrs. M.S. Morena. Mrs. M.S. Morena is going to share with us how Sekhukhune East District supports schools on literacy and numeracy, as well as opportunities to embed this in the system. Ma'am Morena?
Take 5, Manava, Casa Rovala, Calaba.
have a presentation. Good morning, Sekhukhune East Education District. This includes my seniors. Go ya ka ditulo tša bona, badirišani mmogo, go ya ka ditulo tša bona, barutiši ba rena, le ba lekgotlataolo la sekolo. Ke tlo re ge ke bolela ka fela ke bua ke gopola gore le gona akere. Re tlo bolela ka polelo ya bo rena mola le mola, gore ka moka ga rena re be on the same page. I've been asked to come here and talk on behalf of our district. Explain what we are doing as foundation phase to strengthen literacy skills. Before I can do that, colleagues, I just want to tell you gore I'm so happy le gore ke sharing le lena this happiness. Happiness e le bolelang ke mosadi e ba bego a bina mogane jwalo le mokwele. O reng o re happiness e dirang? O re ke gama ke happiness akere ke gama ke happiness la kwa. Ke na le this director ne o e leng gore o nyaka go tseba, o duma go tseba, ebile o tsentšha letsogo ka ga foundation phase ka everything. Se sengwe le se sengwe se re se dirago ka ga foundation phase le ge le ka se mmone le tsebe gore wa re thega. Dr. Malaji is with us at all times. Re be re fela re lla re gante rena ba bone gore re a bereka na akere le mokwele o re ke kgahla ke gore le ruta bana go swara pencil akere that is pencil grip. O re ruta bana re rola dieta re dirang go ra gore o le etetše o le bone akere o ba sa tsebe gore o nthabisha jwang ke kwele ke gore ke tologa ntwane ngwe ka mmagetleng so gore gante le ena wa ya ka kwa ga foundation phase akere. Yes, I just wanted to put that on the table. Ke bontšhe gore ke thabile mongaka a ke tsebe gore ke go botše jwang mara wa tseba ga ke thabile wa mpona. Rena re le Sekhukhune East District, we are striving to create or to establish a culture of reading, because reading ye re bolelang ka yona ke yona gana jwalo e le go challenge e kgolo. A re lebale these other components of language, we are not leaving them behind. And I'm also making an appeal to my teachers, or when you are trying to rectify this or to address this issue of reading, don't leave writing behind. Don't leave these other components behind. And make sure you are not only saying, I'm teaching reading, then your learners are just reading. Some are just barking at the text, they don't even know what they mean. Make sure that it is meaningful to them. Make sure it is meaningful to them. We had literacy programs that we implemented, and some of those programs we couldn't implement to all schools because we were piloting them. Some of our schools benefited a lot from those programs. Programs such as PSRIP, Primary Schools Reading Improvement Program, Renale HLRP gane jwalo, e bolelang ka home language, Embrace a Home Language, is the same program. Rebile le di Jollyphonics. Renale so many. That was just to mention a few. And the programs too wing. We need to implement them, and we need to monitor their implementation. We were, as much as we had those programs, we were trained first as curriculum advisors, and then we had to roll it over to our district, and that is what we did. even though in some cases we didn't manage to cover all the schools, but the programs were there, and in some instances they are still there, they are still implemented. We were and we still are training educators on language content and methodologies, not only on reading, on language content and methodologies. And after training these teachers, we expect implementation. We expect our teachers to go back and plow. How do we ensure that they are implementing after we have been training them, or after they shall have been trained? We visit schools to monitor and support implementation. We don't visit schools to witch hunt, colleagues. We come to your schools to monitor and to support. When we leave those schools, re nyaka go bona go na le phetogo. Ha re nyake go tloga dikolong ra shia le tshogile. Ha re nyake gore ge re tswelela re tsena kwa gating, teacher o mongwe a tswe ka back door. Re tla ka fao e le ge re tlela go tlo monitora le go support. We are monitoring the implementation of these educational policies and programs. We are also monitoring if you are implementing or you are coping with the implementation of whatever it is that you have been trained with. We also have our departmental officials at school level. We have our curriculum advisors, Baba Lego school-based, and those are the departmental heads. The departmental heads that we have at school, we invested some of the responsibilities in them. For example, we are expecting the departmental heads go dikolong gore di manage curriculum. E ska re ge go etelwa ko dikolong, go sa etele mmamorena, go sa etele di-curriculum advisor tša lena, maybe go etela di-provincial officials, go etela national officials, ba hwetša e le gore a go direge selo, and a departmental head is there. She is not saying anything. There is no proof of her having done anything. That is what we are doing when we go, we monitor and support our schools. We have the reading improvement plan. The reading improvement plan that we have is the National Reading Improvement Plan, the Provincial Reading Improvement Plan, which we have also adapted and developed our own as a district. And we had some advocacies last year in 2025, in April, advocating the reading plans to all primary school principals and their departmental heads. We shared these reading plans with them, and we requested them to go back, adapt our reading, our provincial and district reading plan to develop their own schools' reading plans. Then we are coming to schools to monitor how far are you in the implementation of our agreements, in the development of these reading plans. Colleagues, remember, we are striving to establish a reading culture in our district. We are striving to establish a reading culture in our district. How are we going to ensure that this district of ours is now having a culture of reading? How are we going to gauge or to measure if we are now in a position where we can say we are having a culture of reading in our district? there are activities that needs to be implemented. And those activities are what we monitor when we go to schools. Colleagues, we are having a challenge at hand and you know about it. It's no longer our challenge as a district. It's not a circuit challenge. It's a challenge for all the circuits, all the districts. It's the challenge, a national challenge. Our learners are reading, but they cannot read for meaning. When they are reading, they don't understand anything. And why? Or what is it that we can do maybe to try to address that issue? The reading culture in our district. We will say we have a reading culture in our district when we are sure with evidence on the table that you are effectively implementing early grade reading assessment in your schools. How are you helping these learners when you don't know what their problems are? How are you grouping them when we don't know who knows what? Colleagues, let us administer these baseline assessments. They are helping us to determine what next, what has to be done next. Early grade reading assessment, which is EGRA, it's helping you to group your learners into ability groups. When effectively implemented, you are able to, because it is timed, you remember, and you give your learners the same sheet maybe. You may not be able to implement or to administer that to all the learners on the same day. That is why in most cases, you can have a number of learners today and a certain number of learners tomorrow. But at the end of the week, you shall have done all your learners. And you will have that information that this one can read only 10 letters per minute. This one can read 10 words per minute. This one can read 5 sentences per minute. Then you know where to start when you try to intervene. We will say we are having a reading culture in our district, not only when you implement EGRA, also when you ensured the establishment of reading corners in your classrooms. When we visit your schools and we realize now all the schools, the primary schools in Sekhukhune East have reading corners. Remember, you are not only going to tell me you have the reading corner, I'm going to need to see the picture of that reading corner. And these other reading corners that becomes too suspicious, I will go and visit and see if it is really a reading corner or it is functional. These reading corners should not only be there in classrooms to decorate, they should be operational, they should operate. These reading corners should not only be there for compliance sake. You only waluletse tafula na mola o ibeile ditafole tuku beile leina. Haina di resource, haina selo. Maybe na le big book je pedi go ba ifo ba le workbook. Workbook go di mo reading corner, really. Ga e bereke reading corner ye o dirile fela gore re bone gore lefelo lela o le reservile for a reading corner. It is reserved. We will also be convinced that we have a reading culture in our district when we have the evidence that all our schools are implementing DIE or DAR. Others are saying DIE, which means drop everything and read. Others are saying DAR, drop all and read. And it is also showing on your timetables. You do not just say, ma'am, ra dira rena re dira ka Laboraro. Ha o tsebe le gore e tšea metsotso e mekae. Ha o tsebe le gore kore ha o tsebe selo ka yona o no bona gore ma'am mo le ka go mpotša mara e gona yona. Ke mokana ke tlo kgona go thuša ke. Yes, once we are convinced that, colleagues, we are having that, we have the evidence, then we can say, we are now having a culture of reading in Sekhukhune East District. When we are sure that all the schools are now celebrating all the special literacy days that are on the calendar, it's not only school A and B, and we have the evidence in the form of pictures and attendance registers during the celebrations. Then we will say we are getting there. When we managed to bring back and we are effectively implementing breakthrough, colleagues, re lahlile sa moe ko morago akere a re boeleng re ikgateng mohlala re lokisheng breakthrough barutiši ba foundation phase kudu ba bagale ba e tseba and ba tseba le impact ya yona gore e be e šoma jwang akere re ka e buša di-resource di sa le gona ka kwa godimo ga di-cupboard akere re ka e buša ra e implement and e tlo tla le phetogo e tlo re direla a difference. When we are sure that we are now collaborating with these NGOs, re na le bofunda one day shiba, re na le bonali bali, ga ka kwa malokela fela, ke re ga njolo mo etsa le ka malokela. Ka mo di seketeng tše dingwe sekete tše ke tše 16. Re a gopola, colleagues. And ikolo tše ke tše 272. Akere ga o fihla malokela o hetša na le kolo tše 15. Ga malokela ka performa competently so. O hetša gona le bona o ka re o ile o tlo re fihliša mo re yago. A nnoši malokela. O hloka lena ka moka. Le lena le itsutsorope akere, colleagues. This is what we are doing, and this is what we are encouraging our schools to do as a district. To collaborate with NGOs like Funda Wande, Nalibali, and Room to Read, because we are learning from each other. We are learning best practices even from our NGOs. Now I have this appeal. I just want to shift a bit and make an appeal to everyone. Everyone wana le matla go dira se ke se bolelang gana jwalo. Ke a kgopela e ka ba dihlogo tša dikolo, e ka ba lekgotla taolo la sekolo, re a kgopela ba re ke fela ke kwa director tswetswe a ke tsebe gore e ra goreng mara re a kgopela tswetswe bana bešo. Don't let us train different teachers every year in and out. Re a ba trainer, a re fetša mola re na le ma-teacher are trained and they are doing their job. Wa tloga ke o ya ka kwa a re gane gore ka ga intercent ba mo hloka mara e nngwe she re a e bolaya ke foundation phase akere. Ke moka le rena e šašarakanya data ile ya rena a re sa tseba gore na le ma-teacher a makae a re a trainileng le a re sa trainago. This person or this teacher o na le all the necessary skills required to teach foundation phase. O e kgona go e kgona and ba pass. Ke mokana principal wa motšea o ya ka ga intercent akere. Ngwago tla go ba re biletša o la tšwa go ka ga grade 7 o tla ka mo ba re mothome gape. Akere ge bana ba sa performe, colleagues, ye ke bolela tswetswe director o tia nna gante lena le swere le mphegolela bona ka lekudua sa ba phegoleng ba tlogeleng ke beng le bona sebakanyana ba direng mmereko wa bona akere. Ya bobedi, This one is only restricted to ge le change matitšhere a re a trainile mara ge e le gore go na le extra staff, you are free to add the other teachers. Ge e le gore we have newly appointed educators, you are free to do that, to send them to a workshop. But not gore o tše bale o ba iše kua o re tlišetše ba baswa re a trainer wa ba tloša o iša kua o ruta ka ga foundation phase 2 years le a mo tloša o ya kae akere. Yes, ke kgopela re consider also the qualifications ge re ba allocate ka kua di-facing. Ke kgopela go bea ye mo tafoleng ke clarify, ke a tseba gore ke šetše ke tswile kua go sele ba itšego ba mpileditše sona mo e ya gore ka kua ga grade R qualification ela ya educare ba re founela bošego le mosegare ba nyaka diposo ka ga grade R, a se yona la kwa yona e specific e re in grade R teaching, whatever it is yana leng yona e re in grade R teaching, ela e re educare, taking care of this one's educationally. So ka kua keretšha kere and then ye nngwe gape ke gore ga re sana di-practitioners ke a le kgopela bana bešo a re sana na le tšona, a ke tsebe mohlomongwe gore di a faceiwa out go tla teachere na. Ke receive di-call tše dintšhi le gare ga bošego tša go kgopela di-practitioner a ba sa le gona, go na le sekula e tšwile ya re ga re sa appointa di-practitioners re absorba ba le ba išitšwego sekolong a kere. The bottom part of the circular, the last clause if not mistaken, it says, and there shall be no further appointment or replacement of practitioners. So ke kgopela gore re ska hlwa re founela mamorena re practitioner wa ka o retireile re kgopela practitioner wa ka so le so re kgopela practitioner a kere. Yes, a isa lego a ke na matla a go ba tšea fela. Consider the qualification tša batho ba gago go ba allocate ka ga foundation phase. Sa no re motho a dirile go eng subject e nngwe kua e seng gona ka mo a sa tsebe go selo ka foundation wa mme ka mo ka gore o bolaya this foundation ga ba tloga ba ya ku director ka kwa ga foundation a le re isele ene pele go bolela director go bolela lena la re ka kwa ga foundation a le re isele a kere gante batho ba le ba leng ka kua ba bangwe ba ba leng allocated ba dirile di-chemical ba re ke mechanical engineering le be ile motho wa mechanical engineering ka ga grade R o ruta grade R ka gobane ke ngwana mobu re na le di-case tša mohuto bagolo ba ka ko dikolong re distributa di-material di-resources every time and again. Make sure that the distributed resources are benefiting our learners, are not just kept ko di-wardropong go ba ka ko officing ya ga principal a di šomeng go benefita bana ba ge ile dibuka ga di eng ka kwa di-classeng di eng ko di-reading corneng. Colleagues, I was just here to share with everyone else what are we doing in the foundation phase to strengthen the literacy skills. All those activities that I've been mentioning here are working towards that direction. We are together and let us be together in the development of a child, in the raising of this child, and in everything that has to do with these learners, because we are here because of them. Thank you so much.
When I was coco, I took a rock, I was a bonya, Calvaca, Makoti, take sight. When I was coco, I took a rock, I was a bonya, Calvaca, oh, yeah, take sight. Manava, I was a robala, take five, manava, casa robala, calvaca, la leña lula. diaparo tša masia. Give 3 to 6, give 6 to 12. Ke moka a šwelelane ka diaparo tša masia. Give 3 to 6, give 6 to 12. Ke moka a šwelelane.
While they are busy sorting out the stage, we will have a nice song. I don't know which one. Mara, energy, energy, energy ya foundation face. Akere, ya diteki akere. Aha, let's hear that. DJ. Thank you. Ah, tla go sarakana genugo. A sa tla go sarakana genugo le nyaka ke leboga ring. Le nyaka magompo. O lokisa magompo mo wene? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Memorena. Head of Pillar. Ma'am Caesar Kelly. We are on fertile ground. From what Memorana has said, I am convinced that we are treading, the ground is fertile. Thank you so much, Memorana, for outlining the programs that are in the district, happening in the district, and you have outlined them so clearly. And yeah, I think that strengthening is going to work well because we have the foundation as well. And thank you so much, Memorana. Thank you. A round of applause for Memorana. A round of applause for Memorana. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is now time for us to listen to our speakers. We have 3 of them. We have 3 speakers. And I'm going to request DJ that you play a bit of music. And we will then introduce our speaker from Fundawande, Limpopo Intervention Lead, Julia Maputa. If I may ask, DJ, thank you.
Master KG.
Ugaringeberisahwe Ripila waya waya Watsiba mitifagamana Watsiba bupilo byo Ugaringeberisahwe Ripila waya waya Watsiba mitifagamana Watsiba bupilo byo
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The person I'm going to call on stage has a diploma in education from Konamoloto College of Education, a diploma in end-user computing from Computer Technology Development Institute, advanced certificate in education, ACE, in special needs education from UNISA, ACE in life orientation from UNISA, honors, Bachelor of Education in inclusive education from UNISA, master's degree in education on curriculum studies, University of Limpopo, basic and ACE in open distance learning, e-learning from University of South Africa, UNISA, ACE in foundation phase literacy teaching from Rhodes University, specialized course in education leadership with UNESCO, management development program from Stellenbosch University, facilitator, assessor and moderator, ETDP SITA, accredited coach and mentor. Career-wise, primary school teacher for 15 years, room to read, senior literacy coach for 3 years, from room to read as an instructional design and teacher support officer for 4 years, and Funda Wande head of Sepedi for 4 years, and Funda Wande Limpopo intervention lead for 3 years. And this person is none other than Ms. Julia Maputa.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Are you
I can greet and start with my presentation, I would love everyone to stand up and dance. The DD has requested us that this is not a funeral. We are here to celebrate Sikukuni. That is on the rise. Can we have a nice
Layela, Layela, oh Sama Layela, Layela. Bebe tuwa kunali, Sama Layela, babogani bagulitile, utartamaye. Bebe tuwa kunali, Sama Layela, babogani bagulitile, utartamaye. Layela, Sama Layela.
Awa. Ke a leboga, re a leboga. Thank you so much, DJ. Re a bona gore Sekhukhune East, no se tsogile. People can dance. Program Director, our Honorable Didi, our former Chief Director for ECD Foundation Phase, principals who are here, DCESs, SCSs, teachers, SMTs, circuit managers, all protocol observed. Ke rata go le dumediša le nna. I feel so much honored to have been invited to this August event. I'll be talking you through the topic that is there on the program, and I hope you will take something away. I'm coming from an organization called Funda Wande, which is a non-profit organization that implements programs in 4 provinces thus far. We implement programs in Limpopo, Capricorn North and South District. We also implement our program in Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Free State, and we are dreaming that if we can collaborate with like-minded organizations like Kagiso Trust and the others that are not here, we can really scale together with the support and guidance from Limpopo Province Department of Education. So our main goal as an organization is to ensure that all children, or to help learners to read with meaning and calculate with confidence by the age of 10. I think this was the mandate from our president during the 2019 State of the Nation address, that if we say we have achieved our goal as a country, it will be a time when no child has been left behind. And already from the deliverables or the speeches that have been delivered here, we can see that it's like we are moving at a very slow pace because the target is 2030. And 2030, if we calculate properly from now, it's 4 years. Last week, I attended an event called Reading Panel in Johannesburg, Rosebank. And I was very much disturbed when I looked at the presentation, heard, and saw what was written on the slides about the status of literacy in our country. The Department of Education conducted a research for grade 1 to 4 children last year, January to February, to assess where the learners are in terms of reading in their home languages. So the name of the research study was Funda Uphumelele National Survey. FUNS. Funda Uphumelele National Survey. The main purpose of the survey was to establish a baseline of how many learners are reaching reading benchmarks in the early grades. And again, to monitor improvement and know if all our programming is having an impact in the schools, in the learners. Lastly, at a national and provincial and classroom level, this is how the study was conducted. So this is the number of schools that were sampled by province. This was a national research study. That means all the provinces, in South Africa participated in this. It was not all the schools. That's why we say sample design. They've sampled specific schools from each province. So when you look at Limpopo, about 150 schools were sampled. Can you see Limpopo? How many Sepedi schools participated in this study when you look at the slide? Thank you, Didi. 42 schools participated in this research study for Sepedi, and the other schools were Chivenda, Shitsonga, and then I see 6 Isindebele schools, and also 4 English-speaking schools. So the total number of schools that were sampled is 150. You can see the information about other provinces. So when we look at the results, this is not the full report. Please go to DBE website to read the full report about this study. I've just taken some few clips of information to share with you. So when we look at the results, we can see that our learners are still struggling with reading. And I think Mamorena has said it, emphasized it, that they are reading but not with meaning. They read, but they cannot understand. That means reading for them is pointless, is meaningless. Because if you read something and you can't derive any meaning, then your effort is just worthless. Looking at grade 1 learners, only 31% were able to reach the reading benchmarks. I'm speaking about the languages. This is all the languages combined. And then grade 2s, grade 3s, at least there's an increase in grade 4 because learners who are reaching the reading benchmarks, at least is 46%. But then that means we still have 54% of learners who can reach the reading national benchmarks. So the data by province, we see it's all the 9 provinces of South Africa. Look at Limpopo. Look at our grade 1 children. This is so much disturbing, it's worrying, especially considering the great teachers that we have in our schools, the great management teams, but something is not happening. Grade 2s, the percentage has dropped from 31 to 30. That means only 30% of learners in our province are able to reach the reading benchmark. And then the West has happened with grade 3 learners, 19%. What about the 81%? And when you look at this report, you can see that it's very much consistent with the SACMEC report that Sister Ndile has talked about. It's also consistent with the South African systemic evaluation that are happening in other provinces, and it is confirmed by the PEARLS. Remember, the PEARLS 2021 study indicated that 81% of children in South Africa are not able to read for meaning. So I think it's also not a shock for you. The reports are confirming that. Our children are coming to school every day, but they are not benefiting anything. Not to say the teachers are not doing their work or the learners are not like other learners from other provinces or countries, but I think together we can figure out. So what I'm going to share with you here today is the science of reading. That is the topic that I was requested to present about. And we know that when we talk about science, we are referring to something that maybe a study that has been experimented. You can't talk about science and leave experiment behind. We talk about something that was observed, something that was tested. Different theories have been tested that when you want your children to read successfully or proficiently, there are some things that you need to put together to help them. Most of the research into the science of reading has been done in the cognitive sciences and neurosciences. There is, however, a difference in how educationists view reading. We have a term called reading wars. Reading wars just means different experts or champions of reading have different views of teaching reading effectively in the foundation phase or even the upper grades. So there was lots and lots of conflict between these two different views that I'm going to share with you. However, there is another study that confirms that this seems to be the best way of teaching children to read proficiently and fluently in the foundation phase. So those two proponents, the first one is called explicit phonics approach. The second one is whole language approach. Both of them work and they can be integrated, but it's important to know what each body entails. In the explicit phonics approach, when we teach these kids from grade R to 3 and even 4 how to read, we need to start helping our children to decode. Decoding means we need to start with the sounds. Instead of starting with the letters, let's make sure. I was so impressed when I heard Sis Fosa talking about, you mentioned that today is about r, l, m, k, t. We are expecting our children to master all these sounds in our Sepedi language and in other languages, depending on where they'll be taught. Even in IFAL, when we teach learners how to read, let's not focus more on the names of the letters. Instead, the sounds. Children should know that letter C, for instance, can make two sounds. It can be k, cat, cup, call, and it can say s, eyes, size. What other words can we make with C standing for s? Yeah, side. Or CIT, yeah. So all those words. They need to know that, for instance, letter A can make different sounds. It can say O, for instance, in fall, ball, hall, mall. You understand? And again, A can say in the word bark, dark, mark, and all those other words that have run out of my mind. A can say It says bed. It says sad. It says red. So it's important to focus on the sounds before we can even show them how these letters, these sounds are represented. Before we can even show them how to write learners must hear that today we are focusing on this sound. Here are the words. And then the teacher can take the next step to show that, okay, that sound, my children, we represent like this, the way the director has taught us. The explicit letter formation teaching that we expect in the foundation phase. Where do you start? Where do you go? Where do you end? Where does this letter sit on the lines? We call it letter formation. The second one, let me not take too much explaining because I might steal other people's time, is breaking down words or breaking words into its smallest simple components. If my name is Julia, a grade R learner shouldn't struggle to tell me that Julia has 3 syllables. It's Ju, Li, and A, without reading them. Without reading them. If the school is in Ntame, the learner must know that Ntame has how many syllables? Who can guess? Can you try say? You say? How many syllables? It's 3 syllables, ne? Can be a syllable. We call them special letters. N, M, and L, we call them special letters. So they can stand alone as syllables. So, ta, me. Before reading them anyway, once they can hear, by the time you are going to teach them how to write, it's going to be easy. Because the learner will know that I must start with n, and then followed by ta, and then followed by me. That's how we teach. And then a bottoms-up approach, teach the letter sounds first and then blend them to form words. After teaching them the syllables, they have to know that these syllables can be put together to make words. A syllable, it can be bo-a. But then when you take bo-a, when you take ba and na, put together is ban. And then a sequencing of sounds. And then in the whole language approach, the proponents say we read by recognizing words as whole pieces of language. In the whole language, they start with a full sentence, and then they will break down the words into smaller chunks. It's also another way of teaching reading in the foundation phase. And then words read in relation to each other in context. How are these words relating to each other? What is the verb? What is the noun? What is the adjective? What is the adverb? Depending on the language that you teach, it's important for children to know the relationship between the words. And they should also be able to recognize side words. Side words are words that we can just read without even looking at the spelling. Most of the side words, for instance, in English, the words that we commonly use, the, a, and. Those that appear mostly in every text. And then discovery of meaning through a literacy-rich environment. They've spoken about creating library corners. We also say the classroom should be print-rich. Even at home, parents should establish those home learning environments that are conducive to the children. Whether living in a shack, living in a 2-bedroom house, living in a big house, you can create that atmosphere for your child. Why is it important to know about the science of reading? We should be seeking how best to teach reading. You can't teach something that you are not conversant with. If you teach reading, you need to know what works well so that you can apply in your class and help all those kids to succeed. We need research for evidence to inform us how proficient reading develops. We also need research to give evidence of why some learners have difficulty in reading. This is a very big problem for us. When I go to schools in Capricorn, you find that there's a learner, there are many learners, not just one learner, who is in grade 3 and they can't even read a sentence. And remember, grade 3 is a transition grade, and we expect them to go to grade 4. I'm very much happy because I've heard that, success doesn't start from grade 12. For us to know that this child is going to be successful, we don't even have to wait. Maybe we can see from grade R. By the time the child comes to school for the first time, at the year, before the year ends, or maybe right at the end of the year, when we assess, we should be able to talk confidently that this 6-year-old girl or boy is going to produce 7 sevens in matric. So when we talk about bottom-up and top-down approach, we say, even though we know that we need to help those grade 12 kids to pass, we should also spend more effort, more time, more resources on foundation phase. Once we get foundation phase correct, once we get it right, there won't be no major funding for grade 12 campings. Our kids now don't even have a weekend. Saturday, we see them all over in their school uniforms going to schools. Sundays, they go to schools. During holidays, now I've passed matric. I've never been to school on a Saturday or Sunday because my teachers, I think, were able to use this science of reading. And the school was not even having so many resources. Those simple books that will teach you to decode. But by the time I passed grade 3, I was a confident and proficient reader. That's why we say, let's focus all our energies in foundation phase, not forgetting the grade 12s, but also making sure that we are pumping lots of funds and programs, trainings to foundation phase teachers, because they're the only people who can help us in this battle. Again, from research, we can see that written words are not learned or remembered as visual images, even when it seems as though a fluent reader does. Someone who is a fluent reader, they will amaze you, because sometimes you'll think that when they see these words, they can also visualize or they can connect. Reading is a very scientifically and complex, but simple, if it is taught well, thing or skill to teach. Good readers do not use pictures to decode words. You can't decode using pictures. You decode using letters. Remember. Once you know the sounds of the letters, you know that this is L. If L is combined with another letter, you are going to try to attack that syllable. If it's a word, you will try to. So decoding is trying, using your skills of knowledge of letters to read any word, even the words that you are not familiar with. So good readers do not use pictures to decode words, nor do they guess words based on the context of the text. What the science of reading tells us about how we learn to read. Our brains are not hardwired to read. Unlike spoken language, any person can speak. Our brains are hardwired to speak, which is why even someone who has never been to school can deliver a very powerful speech without reading anything, because we are hardwired to acquire spoken language. But when it comes to reading, this is a skill that must be taught systematically and explicitly so that someone can learn and understand what is needed. So when these kids come to school, they come already with a good wealth of oral language. They can speak, they can express themselves, they can play with their friends, they can communicate with their teachers, but in terms of reading, they need to be taught intentionally so. They don't know the difference between A and O. They don't know the difference between D and P, which is why most kids in grade 1, 2, when you say, for instance, some will write with D, because for them, D, letter D and letter B, they look the same. You get my point? For them, letter F and letter T look the same. So it means teachers have to be very cautious and careful when they teach these learners. It's writing, what I'm already talking about. And then our languages are alphabetic. The graphemes, which are the letters and combination of letters, form the anchors for the sounds, which you call a code. Who can guess how many, how many letters do we have in English? How many letters? 26, ne? How many sounds? How many letters in Sepedi? How many letters do we have in Sepedi? 22 letters. We don't have C, we don't have Z, we don't have Q, V, and X. But then we have letter sh. How we write sh, it will be S with diacritic on top, ne? So we have 22 letters in Sepedi, but we have many, many sounds. When I talk about sounds, I don't only refer to sounds made by single letters. I'm also referring to blends. Sometimes you take T and H you put together. They make one sound, which is T. Or you take letter K, put it next to G, then it makes H. It's one sound. So we have 22 letters but different sounds. For English, I think we have 48 sounds, but 26 letters, remember. So let's go refer back to our books so that when we go to our workstations, at least we try to be the best. I know we are the best, but this can also enhance what you are already doing in the class. So the simple view of reading, many organizations, even in the Department of Education and across South Africa, they will tell you that for a child to read successfully, you need to apply the big five. The big five components of teaching reading. What are the big five components? When you look at the far left is phonological and phonemic awareness. Phonological and phonemic awareness is when we only focus on teaching sounds. Learners must not see these letters anyway. They must recognize the sound just by hearing them. The second one is called phonics. Phonics is when now we are connecting the sounds with the respective letters. Once you can see that my learners can recognize, for instance, arrabaruta mancho amudumo wa r. Panabaka, ngelemphe mancho a ba le modumo wa r. I'm expecting them to say Roma, Ranta, Reta, and even maybe that could be in the middle. You get my point? Once you can see that all the learners in your class can recognize the sound, or maybe at least 80%, that's when you can say, okay, Vanavaka, now we are going to see how sound R is represented. Then you take your chalk or you take your marker, if you use a whiteboard. Then you teach R properly, how to write it. So phonological awareness is sounds. Phonics, letters. Connect letters and sounds. Fluency, when we read, we don't just bark at text. We need to read smoothly, at a good pace, with correct intonation. Vocabulary is another component. Learners should have rich vocabulary of any subject that we're going to be teaching them about. And then the last one is comprehension. And we know that if we teach these four components properly, comprehension will just be automatic. They are not reading with meaning, Mamren, because they are still backing, they are still decoding. We just have to help them to read proficiently. Comprehension is another component that is not given attention because in most classes, you'll find that I will teach a specific subject and then ask questions, learners respond, then that is how I'm assessing comprehension. There are different ways of teaching comprehension. One of the strategies is called activation of background knowledge or prediction. It needs, I think maybe next time we'll have a workshop for those who might be interested. Visualizing, those are the strategies we need to help these kids to understand what is it that we read. We must help them to understand by teaching them the strategies they can apply when they read a text that is unfamiliar or familiar. This is another proponent, an expert in reading, Professor Scarborough. He has made this reading rope, and he emphasizes the two sections, that for learners to read with meaning, we need to focus on word recognition. We also need to focus on language comprehension. When you look at the word recognition, you can see there are 3 strands, which is phonological awareness, I've already talked about it, decoding and spelling, which teaches about writing what you were practicing orally, and then sight words. And then in the language comprehension, there are 5 strands. So according to Scarborough, we need to make sure that all these 8 strands are intertwined. And if teachers are teaching them properly, they will all lead to a fluent reader. When you look at that rope, it takes the learners to skilled reading, which means fluent execution and coordination of word recognition and text comprehension. So when it comes to teaching reading, we need to see what works. We don't just have to teach from nowhere. As a teacher, as a DH, as a deputy principal or a principal or whoever works in the schools, subject advisor, we need to find out what actually is working for these kids. Which method can we apply frequently to help them? This must come through high-quality research, which includes instructional research. We should use systematic pre- and post-tests. The pre, in simple terms, we call it baseline. Before you can teach your learners anything in the class, right at the beginning of the year, assess them. Know where they are in terms of reading, so that by the time you start with your activities, you are able to cater for their different needs. The post-test will be the end line, but in between, you need to also continue with the assessment and helping them to catch up, continuous assessment. There must be understanding of the process involved in learning to read and awareness of context in which learning takes place. Our contexts differ. Our contexts differ. So the way maybe children in Northern Academy are taught could be different from how we teach our kids here in Beggarsford or Sekhukhune East. Here are some of the strategies that I want to share with you that we can apply. The first one is oral language development through storytelling. Let's tell our kids stories, lots and lots and lots of stories. Let's read aloud to our learners, even those who are not yet at school, because it is through storytelling and read alouds that they can gain lots of new vocabulary words. Songs, rhymes, and lots of phonological awareness activities. This is oral language. We are not teaching kids how to write anything here. We teach them to listen and to speak. The second one, systematic teaching of phonics. This is where now we are explicit when we teach the letters, especially in grade 1, because in grade R is informal. We are not expecting the handwriting of those grade Rs to be perfect. As long as they can write bo, whether it's in a different shape, it's fine. The grade 1's teacher's job is to ensure that now I have to be deliberate when I teach these letters so that the handwriting could be neat and legible. And also how to write the words, the spacing in between the letters, the spaces in between the words and the paragraphs. So systematic teaching of phonics. The third strategy is let's assess our learners, group them according to reading levels, and track progress against reading benchmarks. I don't know how we are grouping our learners. However, my observation is in most schools, learners are just grouped. I don't know gore ke taba gore ba o ka re ba bohlajana based on o ka re ba no ba le mahlajanyana, so or ke taba gore mme mo tloga ba sesitše, and she's confident that group A, they can't even recognize letters. When you assess them, what's the difference between L, M, R? I group them together. Group B, they can recognize these letters, but they can't read words. So when you help them, it means you are going to give them different remedial activities or activities to catch up. These ones, they can read words, they can recognize letters, but when they read any text, you ask them questions, they don't understand. So their problem is comprehension or either fluency. So let's group them according to their levels. I think EGRA will help us because it has all those subtests that we can train our teachers on and the learners. And then let's employ the CAPS reading activities. I've already spoken about read aloud, is in the CAPS document. Foundation phase teachers are expected to do shared reading every week. Group guided reading every day. Shared reading 3 times or 4 times, 4 days in a week. Group guided reading, it's every day for the different groups. Paired and independent reading. These are the activities that has been outlined by CAPS for the teachers in South Africa, that if we want our children to be successful, we need to teach according to them. Involve parents and show them how to support children's reading at home. When the parents come to school, it doesn't have only to be about celebration or awards. Sometimes we can call your grade 1 parents, your grade 2 parents, and share with them one of the strategies they can use to help children. You can share with them some ways on which they can help kids with homework. I think parental involvement can also increase our impact, because even in the PEARLS study, the report says children who are coming from literate family backgrounds are the ones who are successful in reading, in maths, and even at school in general. And even the Funda Uphumelele national study indicated that kids who are able to reach the benchmarks are those that are going to quintile 4 and 5 schools. Quintile 1, 2, 3, those kids are just in a very bad state. Lastly, train the teachers on reading benchmarks and CAPS reading activities. There need to be intensive training about the reading benchmarks as well as the CAPS reading activities. Who can tell us the benchmark for Sepedi? Grade 1. How many letters, sounds, are grade 1 learners expected to know or to read in 1 minute successfully? I'm asking the teachers because they're the ones who are doing this. The reading benchmarks for Sepedi. I know you know them. You just don't want to give me the answer, ne? Here are the reading benchmarks. If we say this learner is ready for grade 2, look at Sepedi. How many letters, sounds, are learners expected to read correctly in 1 minute for Sepedi? 40. So at the beginning of the year, you can do that baseline to know how many letters can they read. And then at the end of the year, give them that EGRA tool, time them. If all your learners can say, k, in 1 minute, and then you count the letter sounds, there are 40, you have done a good job as a teacher. You get my point? They should be reading the 40 letters in how many minutes? 1 minute. You can use your cell phone as a timer. 1 minute, 40 letters, without getting any letter sound wrong. And then for grade 2, they should know those letters. And again, we expect them to know how many words in 1 minute for Sepedi. Do we have schools that are not doing Sepedi in this hall? So that I'm not leaving them behind. I'm using Sepedi because Sepedi, yeah. That's why I'm focusing on Sepedi, not Chivenda or Sizulu. How many words are grade 2 learners expected to read correctly in 1 minute? For Sepedi, look at the slide, 40. So you write 40. Already we have those tools. The department has provided us the EGRA tools. There's a tool with over 60 words. You give it to one learner at a time. Set your timer. And then you say, please read for me these words. If the learner can read those 40 words correctly in that 1 minute, you must pat yourself to say, yeah, no, I've done just this year. My learners are ready for grade 3. And then grade 3, you can see the level of the increase in the words is 60 words per minute. So my submission to you is, let's assess them. If you have not done that, you can have that information so that at the end of the year, you can see your impact as an educator. When I started with these learners, none of them could read a word. Now it is November or it is October. 20 of them can read 40 words in 1 minute. These are the benchmarks, not from Funda Wande, not from Kagiso Trust, from National Department of Education. If we can do this, I think we will be in the good reports next year. So this is just the last quote from me, from one professor, Timothy Shanahan, who says, if our goal is to determine how best to teach reading, then we must rely on data that evaluate the effectiveness of teaching rather than depending solely on or even mainly on studies of reading processes or of other non-instructional phenomena. And again, teachers benefit from knowing both what works and why it works, but it is the what ultimately that leads to improved reading ability, at least most immediately. I forgot to just say, also I was taking notes when the speakers were here on the podium, that we need to make learning fun, and again, lifelong learning. It's another important thing we need to do. If you are a teacher and you don't want to get immersed with your profession, you might not be you might not be the best version of yourself as you are supposed to be or as you are meant to be. So I'm not expecting any teacher to say, now I've collected my qualifications, I'm enough. As long as you are still in the system, try to empower yourself, develop yourself. I'm still reading at this moment. I'm still registering with different institutions because education is dynamic, it changes, and the more you read, that's the more you get a better understanding of your subject and your profession. And if you are a reader, you'll also motivate your children or your community or the teachers at your school to become readers. I think these are the notes that I've taken. Lastly, Funda Wande, we have a website. Please visit our website for more information about our program. Everything that I've shared with you is on the website. Those CAPS reading activities, if you are not so sure how to do shared reading, we have shared reading lessons in Sepedi, in isiXhosa, in Afrikaans, in English. This month we'll be shooting videos for Chivenda and Xitsonga because we want to help all the teachers in the country. So visit our website. Everything that I've just highlighted, please, you'll find it on the website of Funda Wande. Thank you so much for the opportunity.